I got tossed out after 4 months of school. My second school, I never showed up. My third school, my mom shipped me to my father. We didn't know each other. That didn't work. So he shipped me back. My fourth school, when they saw the transcripts, they said, you got nothing. So let's start over. Hey, somebody in this room, I had trauma in my life, man. I had trauma in my life. I'm dealing with stuff. The one at the center was domestic abuse. By the time I got to middle school, never conceptualized what that was until I saw it with my own eyes, looking at my mom laying out the floor with my stepfather. And with that, and then a little bit of this, and a little bit of that, and a little bit of that, I got too much going on. So school lost its relevance. There's not a soul in this room that would have been relevant to my life unless you had figured out how to open up the lock to my heart and come in, or the lock to my soul and come inside. If you hadn't figured that out, then you have no relevance to my life. So I spent the 5 years. I got a 1.5 GPA. I graduate. I do nothing for the next 5 years but smoke and drink. That's how I'm living. And then I decided at the age of 23, hey mom, I need to do something. I gotta do something with my life. Yeah, you do. Hey mom, I'm gonna go to college. But see, I don't wanna go. Because I don't have any ambition, y'all. Now, I'm talking about some of the students, by the way. I don't have no ambition. I have no goals. I got no purpose. I got no sense of mission, no vision, no nothing. Just wake up, live life, go to bed. So, mom, I'm gonna go to school. I'm gonna fulfill your dream. All right. But mom, I need a favor. I can't afford no college. I need you to pay the tuition. I got you. And one more thing, mom. What do I study? Good question. Study marketing. Marketing. What's marketing? It's like business. Oh, okay. She don't know, I don't know. But I'll study it. And I graduated with a 4.0 summa cum laude. So, I appreciate that. Listen, I stumbled on this book. Hear me, somebody. When you hear the title, some of you might think, that's not relevant to me. But I'll say to you before I give you the title, no, it's relevant for all. It was written in 1933 by my education hero. His name is Dr. Carter G. Woodson. It's called The Miseducation of the Negro. The word Negro because it was written in 1933. And I'm reading this book. One of the first books I've ever read in my life. My first time reading the book was at the age of 23, when I got to undergrad school. And there was this passage right in the introduction that blew my mind. He said, when you control a man's thinking, you do not have to worry about his actions. You do not have to tell him not to stand here or over yonder. He will find his quote-unquote proper place, and he will stay in it. You do not need to send him to the back door. He will go without being told. In fact, if there is no back door, he'll cut one for his special benefit. His education makes it necessary. Period. And I had to read it again. And again. And again. And again. And I kept reading the past. I couldn't get to the book. Because I said my conclusion, hear me somebody, I said that man from 1933 is saying to me, young man, As long as you're not a thinker, as long as you're not critical and analytical in your thinking, you pose no threat nor challenge to anybody. You are self-contained, which is what I was. I had cut out that door and was walking through it for 10 years. I'm asking my family here in Norwich, are you teaching children to think deeply? Are you teaching children to think critically? Are you teaching children to think analytically? Beyond the surface, that they really have deep meaning and understanding of the stimuli around them and of themselves? Man, one of the themes here, attendance. Another one, behavior. Another one, inclusion. Man, let me just touch that for a minute. Attendance. Oh man, let me tell y'all something. Things that stimulate me, things that excite me, things that entertain me, things that inspire me, things that empower me. Oh man, I keep coming back, man. I keep coming back. I want it. I said as a teacher, because when I heard those three, attendance, behavior, inclusion, I said, bam, I'm in the right place. You ain't have to tell me that. See, as a classroom teacher, think about it. Let me take you back now. I said a 1.5 in 5 years. Guess what that means? When I become an educator, what do I know? I ain't learned nothing. I got a 1.5. That means I failed everything. Somebody might say, how you qualified to teach? Meet me after this session. We can talk about that. Right? So I don't have anything. I don't have what most of you have. I had something different. I said, man, I'm gonna learn these content areas. I'm gonna learn them on the fly, and I did. Then he made me teacher of the year, right? So I figured that out. But in the interim, I said, if I can get these young people excited about being in this classroom, and where was I, by the way? I started in Brooklyn, New York City. So I said, and the average student had repeated 2 years, and I was only teaching 5th graders. Imagine that. Students were 99% black, and I think 1 Latino student. So I said, all right, they repeated 2 years. They live in Brooklyn, they're dealing with the challenges of living in Brooklyn. But I said, what if this first year teacher can make it exciting about walking into this space every day? But here's the other piece. Excited about being in the space, excited about learning, excited about the prospects for their future, but then within all that, excited about being with their teacher. I ain't gonna send no angry, threatening notes home to parents about attendance. Because there's too much excitement in that classroom, and youngsters can't wait to get there, so that takes care of both the attendance and the tardiness. So I asked the question to my family in Norwich, is it exciting about being in your presence? Is there something that stimulates them that I can't wait to get back tomorrow? Like watch this here. I wish I had a chair, pretty lame chair. So I'll make it. Watch this, y'all. Not Norwich, but other places. The students will come back on day 1. And the principal may lead a back to school message, which I'll just kind of slide in there as a commercial. I hope that's what the principal does. Right? I'll leave that alone. But so the principal does that back to school talk, like I'm doing right now. They're up on the stage and they just welcoming the school back, right? but with the absence of discussion on rules and consequences. It doesn't exist. And then the students are released to go to class, and now they go, or dismissed is a better word, and then they go to class, and now the teacher engages young people in that uplifting, upbeat conversation, devoid of rules and consequences. Now, why would I say that? Let's flip it. Imagine that conversation, the principal's message on the first day. As soon as they walk in the building, I stick that into it. Right? So the principal's message with the students as they arrive in the morning on the first day of school. And then, not knowing which, I'm taking this outside of here because, you know, I want to be simple where I am. And the principal's message is all about the rules, man. You got to do this. You got to do that. This is what we expect. You got to comply with this and that. And if you don't, here's the consequence. This is what's going to happen. Well, if I was sitting down being one of the students, mind, I wanted the students saying, man, this is exciting. I can't wait for tomorrow. And then, so when the principal, not your district, so when the principal had the staff meeting, when the teachers came back the first day, one of the agendas one of the items on the agenda was, teachers, I don't want to see any teaching on the first day. I'm going to walk around the building, I want to see those rule charts. And the consequences, y'all do that, you got to right? I want to see the rule charts, the consequences will come by, and I want you to make sure that that's what you discuss. Because you got to know these rules. You got to know these consequences. So now, the students got the principal at 8 o'clock, then they get you at 9, and it was the middle school level, so secondary, now they get 9, they get 10, they get 11, they get 12, they get all day long. You got to follow the rules here. And then the new teacher, who the new teacher? Put your hands up. I'm a holler for a minute. So now, the new teacher, someone whispered in your ear, all right, now you got grades 6, 7, and 8, like, don't smile. Smile, you're going to lose it. Right? So you're going there kind of aggressive. But don't smile. Don't smile. It's 6, 7, and 8. It's normal, man. You got to be firm with it. Right? So now the teacher stepped way out of character. All right. One of the rules here. And then if you violate, they can hear the word violate. If you violate the rules, see the consequences. That's what's going to happen to you. And then the kids sitting there like, I think I'll come to school tomorrow. See? Hey, yo, I understand. I'm an urban educator. North New Jersey, East Orange, you don't get much urban than that. I understand attendance issues. But I understand behavior issues as well. But I also understand something about this word, culture. Oh, man. Culture. See, the culture of this room when I walked in, man. I've been in New England since Sunday. Right? I got this car at the park. I've been driving all over the place, 3 hours a day. Oh my God, it's brutal. Right? So, and no two schools have been the same. No two districts have been the same. I walked in here, all that energy, man, you fired them up. Because I was sitting there like who's that? They hired him as a DJ, or is he part of the staff? You know? I really want you to play with some Frankie Beverly, We Are One, but I ain't tell you in advance, right? So don't worry about it next time, right? So that's like my song I start with. So here's the thing, y'all. Culture. It's all these scholarly definitions. I ain't gonna bore you with that in the convocations. I'm gonna bring it down to just this one word, man. Culture. The lifestyle. How we're living in this space. How we're living in this classroom. Is it engaging? Like you gotta look at yourself. Is it engaging?
Is it a situation? Is it an environment that you created that young people, I just want to be back there. I just want to come back. There's something about being in that space with my teacher that I want to be there. Attendance is not an issue no more. That ain't one of your goals to rectify and improve. But neither is behavior. Because you created this magical environment. I tell educators all over this country every day, rip the rule charts off your wall. Stop telling them to put them in the notebooks and all that kind of stuff, or on the computer. And in this case, create an environment where the culture is the mouthpiece. Right. But, hey, new teachers, can you stand for me? First year, this is your first year. Let me see. Don't sit down yet. Y'all, let me holler at you for about a second. I'm here about the time, so stop too long. Let me just holler at you real quick. November of 1988 is when I started, not September. Because I didn't know I wanted to teach. That wasn't my major. But when I tried that business world, I said, nah, all I want to do is teach. So New York City had a teacher shortage, severe. The qualifications were if you can breathe, you got a job. So I can breathe. So they asked me a question, I answered the question. They said, respond to this question in writing. I responded to the question in writing. They said, you're hired. Go find a job. I said, where do I look? Here's a list of schools with vacancies. Pick one. So I picked one. I said, Brooklyn. That's where I want to be. I called the principal. Hey, principal. I just passed the test. I'd like to apply for the job. She said, can you come for an interview today? I'll be here this afternoon. Fine, come on in. I went there, she talked to me for 10 minutes. She said, can you start tomorrow? I'm there, right? So I go in there. The teacher I learned in the interview was a beloved teacher that died suddenly. So I'm coming in there to replace him, and the students are grieving. The teacher just died. They didn't even have a funeral yet. So that was my intro to the classroom. But the night before that day I started, hear me, young folks, as I say, young kids in the room. The night before, my wife and I went to a Broadway play. And we're watching the play, we're sitting up close. You know, she's my fiance, so I'm still in the mode of trying to impress her, right? So we sitting close, and I hit her like this, I nudged her. I said, Kim, I ain't going no more. And she's like, going where? That school job I got? I ain't going no more. She said, why not? Now when it's the play, the people hear us. Probably didn't say, shut up, right? I said, because I'm scared. She said, scared? I said, yeah, I'm scared. She said, they fifth graders. It doesn't happen. What do I know about teaching, man? I can't handle that. I'm not going to that. So in the middle of that play, she talked me into it. And then I wound up going, and here I am. Listen, y'all. Hey, you young kids right here. I asked you to stand, please. I took the PATH train from Jersey City, which is where I live. Then I jumped on the number 4 to Brooklyn. And then I took this walk down Utica Avenue. Listen to me. I'm asking myself, I'm walking down the street, man. I'm shaking in my boots, man. And I said, why are you doing this? Why are you going in this school? Like, what are you trying to accomplish? What are you trying to achieve? And I said, well, I know how I grew up. I know mom struggled to raise a black boy. I said, I know what the data is nationally. I know what it is with black boys. I know I study that kind of stuff. I said, I'm going to this school. And I'm going to prove to these people. I'm going to prove to this school. I'm going to prove to this city. I'm going to prove to this state. I'm going to prove to this region. I'm going to prove to this nation. I'm going to prove to this world what black boys are capable of achieving when they got the right one. I'm going to prove became my why. Y'all stay standing, man. I'm walking my why. That became my why. I walked in that building not to teach language arts, not to teach science, not to teach social studies, not to teach math. I walked in that school to defy the stereotypes of these young men, to prove to them what they were capable of achieving. That became my alarm clock, baby. That became my everything. It dominated my thinking. It dominated my sleeping. It dominated everything about my being. I said, I'm going to prove what they can do because I know that the stereotypes, I know what's on the news, I know what I see with the eye test, but I know what they are capable of achieving when they have the right one. So, for the next several years until 1998 when I became an administrator, that was my why, my purpose, my reason, my because. When I became an administrator, I said, now I can take this on another level. I can take this to a school-wide level, and I'm going to prove to the world what these boys are capable of achieving. I take over school in 05, just to give you an example. My test scores are 29%, 31 in language art. I'm a gang-infested school in Newark. I'm all blood, Crip, Great, Latin King, MS-13, 95% of them my self-admission. I said, all right, I got you. 4 years later, math scores 100%. Language arts scores 100%. Principal Kafele, what did you do? I shifted their attitude. And I convinced them of their greatness. I convinced them that they were extraordinary and amazing and phenomenal. Attitude. Hey, young kid, it's your first year. Like Kanye, so I'm talking to y'all like it's just me and you, right? So, listen. I'm saying to you, thank you for answering the call to be in this profession. But I ain't gonna play with you right now. You're not in an easy profession. It's extremely challenging. It's extremely, it can be overwhelming, particularly when you are committed to it, when you are passionate about it. It's challenging, but you know something? It's rewarding. Yes, you will have days when you question if this is what you want to do with your life. Yes, you will have days when there are tears streaming down your cheeks. Yes, there will be days that you feel like quitting and giving up. But when those days come, I want you to think about this guy on the stage, and by that time you might not remember his name, but I want you to think about him and say, that man told me I was going to have this day. That man told me that these days could be rough. But that man also told me that these days could be very rewarding. So I'm saying to you, where you stand right now, all these folks been there before, including the teacher of the year and the superintendent of the school. They've all been there. But it's now your time. Don't you ever give up or quit. See, you can feel frustrated, but don't you feel discouraged. Because it's a bright, sunny day right around the corner. I applaud you.